Welcome to Dirshu Daf HaYomi B'Halacha. Today we are beginning Siman Zayin, which is Din Levarich Birchas Asher Yatzar, the law of making the bracha of Asher Yatzar, Kol Hayom Acher Hatalas Mayim, all day after one uses the bathroom. And there are 4 sifim. We're going to see all 4 sifim today. We're also going to see the beginning of Siman Ches, which is Hilchos Tzitzis, V'atifaso. We will see the first sif. The 3 questions that we are going to be addressing today are as follows. First of all, can one make up a missed Asher Yatzar? Which is said first, Asher Yatzar or a bracha achrona? And for the next siman, should one stand when he puts on his tzitzis? So let's begin again with Sif Aleph and Siman Zayin. Kol hayom kish'osa sracha. All day when a person uses the bathroom, ben katan and ben gedolim, doesn't make any difference if he's urinating or he's defecating. Mevarech asher yatzar, he says the bracha of asher yatzar. V'lo al netilas yadayim, you don't say the bracha of al netilas yadayim after you use the bathroom. Af imrotza lilmoid olispalom yad. Even if someone wants to learn or daven immediately, so Asher Yatzar is recited. So in this, the Mishnah Berurah says as follows: V'efil im nimshach zman gadol achar siyas hasrachim. Even let's say there was a long delay, you used the bathroom and then you didn't say Asher Yatzar right away, v'efil hachi chai v'varich, you still are obligated to say a bracha. Now, what happens, again, you forgot to say Asher Yatzar, and now you have to use the bathroom, let's say an hour later, a second time. So, Das Priyam Gadim, the Mikaidim Shiatil, Yavarech Asher Yatzar al HaTala Harishayna. He says that you should actually say Asher Yatzar for the first time. According to the opinion of the Shari Tshuva, once a person has a desire, a feeling to use the bathroom, at that point you've already lost your opportunity to say the Asher Yatzar on the first one, and therefore you just say the Asher Yatzar the one time, and that's it. Okay, furthermore, the Mishnah Berurah says, Mish achol davar. Okay, we'll see the rest of that Mishnah Berurah in a second. But let's first address this first question about making up a missed Asher Yatzar. So on this, the Biurim Musafim tells us the following. He says, which is number 12. Let's say a person forgot to say Asher Yatzar a couple times. So Kosav Maimer Mordechai, Shigam Udas Shulchan Aruch Ein Levarich El Pam Achas. You only say one bracha Asher Yatzar, even though you use the bathroom a few times. Since you didn't say it all the times before, you only have to say it once. However, the Pri Megadim says Shesar Chavarich El Kol Pam Upam. So it's actually machlokas. You have to still say multiple Asher Yatzars. And then he gets into a very famous question: what if you're about Shuvah? Now we know, for example, when it comes to tefillah, there is a concept of tashlumin, which is discussed at length in the 4th parak in Masechtas Brachos, but that's only if you missed one tefillah, you can make up the next one. However, that's also only b'shogeg. About tshuva, perhaps not knowing, maybe he's able to make up one davening. The question is, since his whole life he went to the bathroom multiple times, does he have to say Asher Yatzar 1,000 times? Now that he became a Baal Tshuva? So he says, Loi berach me'oyel berachas Asher Yatzar. So if he never said it, so Rosh Zalman Auerbach says as follows: Shafo dasa Pri Megadim, lo yivarech bracha Asher Yatzar k'mispar hapamim shechai bracha zu. He doesn't have to keep saying it 1,000 times. Levishin levarech berachas hodah zu el hapamim oisam zoicher umargish. It has to be, it's a brachas hodah, that it's at the time that you remember at the moment during that basic time frame. But since that time frame has gone, So therefore, you don't make an extra Asher Yatzar. Okay. So let's look at question 1. The Shulchan Aruch rules, again, can one make up a missed Asher Yatzar? The Shulchan Aruch rules that if a person did not recite Asher Yatzar after using the bathroom, he must say Asher Yatzar twice the next time he relieves himself. He sources this ruling in the halachos of a person who misses a tefillah. He must say Shemona Esrei twice the next time he davens. The poskim debate whether multiple makeup brachos should be recited for consecutive misses. Some argue that, as in the case of tefillah, where there is only a makeup option for the prior tefillah, Asher Yatzar should only be repeated to compensate for the last time it was missed. All agree that a person who becomes Torah observant, the Baal Tshuva, does not need to repeat Asher Yatzar for all the times it was omitted over his lifetime. Many Achronim disagree with the Shulchan Aruch and rule that there is no makeup for Missed Asher Yatzar. Once a person uses the bathroom, he can no longer recite Asher Yatzar for the last time he used it. A person should be careful, therefore, to recite Asher Yatzar immediately upon exiting the bathroom to alleviate himself from any of these issues. In fact, this is one of the questions that was posed 7 years ago, and the question is this: if one urinated and thought he was finished, and then decided to urinate again, does he say Asher Yatzar twice? Similar type of a question. There's a machlokas. When in doubt, he says it only once. Okay, so that answers our first question. Now let's continue with the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah then says, the Rashal writes as a tshuva, he says as follows: Misha achol davar shechaya bracha achrayna. Let's say you ate something and you ate a piece of cake. Rashachach, he forgot about it. V'hitul mayim, went to the bathroom. V'nizker koidim shebol avarach asher yatzar eis mehem koidim. So you went to the bathroom. Should you say a bracha achrona first, or should you say Asher Yatzar, which is one of our questions? The Heshiv, the Asher Yatzar Kaidim. So we end up answering that we should say Asher Yatzar first. Why? Based on the concept of Tadir. Because unless you eat a lot of cake, a person will use the bathroom multiple times, let's say during the day. However, they're eating, again, at least in those days, they didn't eat as often. And therefore, bracha achrona is less of a bracha. So therefore, tadir sheno tadir kodim. So you should say Asher Yatzar. Misha sheisa sam hamshalshel dish medaitu mitchil afanois habnei mayim ad shetichla hazuhama mehem. So let's say a person takes some type of a medication, like a stool softener, or they take something before, let's say, colonoscopy, and therefore it causes that their entire system keeps flushing out. You only have to say Asher Yatzar at the end. Some say you should say a bracha each time. That actually is our minig, that you still say Asher Yatzar each time, even though you may be using the bathroom multiple times. Interestingly enough, that let's say a person has a very bad case of diarrhea, that even after he uses the bathroom, he still feels he has to go again. So at that point, you don't say the bracha. And not only that, if you'll be the Torah usher, person not allowed to learn Torah when he has such an upset stomach that he has this bad case of diarrhea. So the Biur Musafim adds, he says, Kasa bracha achrona mishum sheberachas hamazon shehi midaraisa histapik im yesh lakdima. So even though we mentioned that maybe you say Asher Yatzar first before bracha achrona, if that bracha achrona is benching berachas hamazon, which is a din deraisa, perhaps the din is different. So let's see what's the second question. Which is said first, Asher Yatzar bracha achrona. A person who needs to recite both Asher Yatzar and a bracha achrona should recite Asher Yatzar first. As the more prevalent bracha, Asher Yatzar takes precedence. Most people go to the bathroom more than they eat. Although there are some people for whom the reverse is true, the halacha goes according to the majority. So batel daito etzel kol adam. Basically, we go basar rov. And the majority of people, at least then, they went to the bathroom more than they ate. Some Achronim say that Berachas HaMazon should be said before Asher Yatzar, since it's a Torah obligation, and Asher Yatzar is only Midrabanan. Okay, let's finish up the rest of this Siman with Sif Beis Gimel Dal. Hetel Mayim V'loi Shiv Sheif, Afal Pishet Sarach Levarach Asher Yatzar Ein Sarach Litel Yadav, El Mishum Nikios or Mishum Hichoin. So if a person went to the bathroom, but he did not do Shiv Shuf, which is like a form of rubbing, so even though he needs to say the Bracha of Asher Yatzar, he doesn't need to wash his hands. El Mishum Nikios or Mishum Hichoin, only because of preparation or cleanliness. So he says, V'im ein lo bamel lital, if you don't have what to wash, afal pikin sarach levarach asher yatzar. And if you im shiv shef, even like with rubbing, so it's brought down the mahani lebrachos im manaka yoda b'chol midin manaka. So you can rub your hands on anything. Okay. Hetel mayim v'hisiach daito. Let's say you went to the bathroom and then you diverted your attention. Melitel mayim. V'yachachach nimlach, you change your mind. V'hetel mayim pamacheres. Again, you went to the bathroom a second time. So Ken, according to the din of the Shulchan Aruch Beferish, he says that if you use the bathroom and you use the bathroom a second time, then you actually have to say Asher Yatzar again. You have to Sarach Levarach Beis Pamim Asher Yatzar. You say the bracha twice, and as we mentioned already, and the Mishnah Berurah says it's just the same as we find by Tefillah. Shim Tavul Hispal Shachos Mispal Mincha Shtayim. You didn't daven Shachos, you daven 2 minchas, and therefore, if you missed 1 Asher Yatzar, you can say 2 Asher Yatzars when you go to the bathroom a second time. Avol Harbe Ma'achreinim Cholkin Al Psak Zeh. Many Achronim disagree, and they hold that Tefillah is different, because b'makom carbon, Tefillah is instead of a carbon, so maybe that's the reason why there's a din tashlumin, as we learned in numerous Masechtas Chagiga recently, that there's a din tashlumin kol zayin when it comes to the Chagim of Pesach, Shavuos, Pesach, Sukkot, and even Shavuos. B'shayich lo tashlumin. Mash'inkin sheyatzar shibrechas hodah. You're thanking Hashem. Yoytze b'hodah achas al harbi pa'amim. So you can be yoytze 1 time. You say thank you 1,000,000 times. You say thank you once. 1 hodah is sufficient. It's like a person ate some bread, and then you did something for a few minutes, and you weren't really thinking about eating, then you went back to eat. You don't say Berachas HaMazon twice, so you don't have to say Asher Yatzar twice. And because we're talking about Safik Brachos, we're lenient. Preferably, that's why you should immediately say Asher Yatzar as soon as you wash your hands, as soon as you leave the bathroom. Because again, who knows, maybe you'll need to use the bathroom in 20 minutes or 10 minutes from now. So therefore it's better to say Asher Yatzar right away to remove yourself from any of the sfekas. Sif Dalad, Ein Shir L'Hashtin Mayim, Kefil L'Tipa Achas Chayav L'Varech, Shimi Sostim Hanekev M'Lohaitze Atipa Hahi Hayikashalo V'Chayav L'Hoidais. So it doesn't matter if you have a normal flow of urine, of going to the bathroom, or even if it's the smallest amount, even a tipa is enough that you're still mechuyev to say the bracha of Asher Yatzar. Okay, let's now continue with Siman Ches. Hilchos Tzitzis va'atifaso uvo yud zayin seifim. So there's 17 seifim. There's a lot of halachos that pertain to the law of tzitzis. We're going to begin with Sef Aleph. It says as follows: Yis atef but tzitzis. You're supposed to wrap yourself in tzitzis. Yivarech ma'umud. And when you say the bracha, you're supposed to do so while you are standing. So the Mishnah Berurah says that miyad achar netilas yadayim, right after you wash your hands, you should put on your tzitzis. Kadeshal yelech arba amos b'lo tzitzis. You shouldn't go 4 amos without tzitzis. So therefore you should put them on. Now ma'umud, you're supposed to put them on standing. Ratzaloimer hatifa v'habracha shtein b'amidah. The wrapping around your body as well as the bracha should be done standing. Hatifa mishum dechsev lachem. The fact that it says Lachem, to you, that's why we wrap ourselves with tzitzis. Why? V'alfinan gzer shava m'oimer. Interesting. D'chsiv gamkin lachem. V'oimer ksiv mihachel hechermish b'kam. Of darshin b'koima, that it needs to be done standing. You do the standing grains. So therefore, just like when you cut the Omer offering for the Pesach holiday, when you do the Ksiras Omer, it's done standing. So too, when it comes to the tzitzis, interestingly enough, through Gzer Shav, it's supposed to be done standing. That Tifma Mishum Dechsiv Lachem. Now, and how in Bahabracha Mishum Dechol Birchas Mitzvah Sarach Lios Bamida. Interesting. All brachos are supposed to be done standing. V'hu rak l'chatchila. Of course, it's all l'chatchila, but the Yevid Yatzar b'shtein b'chol gavni. You're still Yotze putting on tzitzis and saying the bracha, even if you weren't standing. Achronim say the l'chatchila sarach liyos habracha koydem atifa. He says the bracha should be done before you put them on, because there's an inyan of being mevarach over las siyasan. First you say the bracha, and then only afterwards you do the mitzvah, like anything. So therefore, because of that, so too before you do the atifa, before you wrap yourself in your tzitzis, you should first say the bracha, then only afterwards do it that way. Okay, let's see a couple quick points in the biurim musafim. So it says as follows: miyad achron netilos yadayim. As we said, 3. So there's some people that don't say the bracha on the tzitzis, because they're going to say the bracha later on when they get the shul and the talis gadol, and they have das that it also is on their tzitzis as well. So they don't take the tzitzis and they don't wrap themselves in it, because they wrap themselves with the talis gadol and they go to shul. So on this, Rav Shimon Zon Auerbach says, because of that, they actually don't have to stand when it comes to the talis katan by the tzitzis. The whole chiyuv is only after you wear it. Mishum kach in chiyuv lalmoid b'shas lavishas atzitzis elo rak b'shas ha'ituf hanasel achar halvisha. Only after the wrapping. And it's brought down in the Sefer Siach Halacha. It's written shenira shehamida b'shas lavishas talis katan enu el hider bilvad. It's not a chiyuv. Mishnah Berurah says l'chachila, but he says it's only a hider. Okay. So immediately after Netilas Yadayim, one should don his tzitzis. They cannot be worn beforehand, because one may not make a bracha before washing his hands. So you first have to do Netilas Yadayim, then you put on the tzitzis. Now this halacha also applies to people who did not recite a bracha on the talis katan, since one should not touch it with unwashed hands. If one does recite a bracha, he must stand when reciting it and putting on the tzitzis. One who does not say a bracha may choose to sit while putting the tzitzis on, though standing is hidr. Ad kan.